Thank you both for joining us today to talk about the 108th annual meeting of the American Society of International Law, joined with the 76th Biennial Conference of the International Law Association, which will be held April 7th through the 12th of this year. Can you take a moment to introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Betsy Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of the American Society of International Law.
And I'm Ruth Wedgwood, a longtime member of the American Society of International Law and currently president of the American branch of the International Law Association, which is a long-standing British-founded global international law organization.
Well, thank you both for being here. Betsy, if I may first start with you, what makes this year's annual meeting historic?
Well, it is our 108th meeting, and so we've been doing this for a very long time, but this is the first time that we have joined forces with the International Law Association to convene this meeting. So that's really significant for us, a great opportunity for us to welcome our colleagues from all over the world, from the ILA branches in some 60 countries to come to Washington and grapple with the current issues of the day.
I think it's also a very nice occasion for each organization to see what the other one does, because what the ILA has traditionally been known for is law writing exercises, that it's brought together committees of experts in a host of areas: use of force, environment, law of the sea, commercial issues, trade, over the years, and they work slowly but concertedly and produce either draft treaties or restatements of customary law or suggestions for future standards. And so I think the law-making aspirations of the ILA have always been a bit distinct from ASIL, but it's terrific that they're coming together, that each sees what the other does, and who knows, one could even collaborate in the future.
And I think it's safe to predict that this will be the largest gathering of international lawyers in either organization's history, maybe in history. We expect some 2,000 people here.
Is there anything that those 2,000 potential attendees can expect to be different this year than in previous years with your respective gatherings?
Well, I think the combining of the two meetings is going to be different. So those who usually come to the ASIL meeting, I think, will very much enjoy the participating in the lawmaking part of the ILA meeting, and vice versa. We are really trying to integrate the meetings wholly. So one registration fee gets you to all aspects of both organizations' meetings. And I think that's going to be really enriching for everybody. One of the things that was exciting to us when we thought about doing this is we looked at the typical attendees of an ASIL meeting and an ILA biennial meeting and found a remarkably small amount of overlap in the community of people who were going to these two meetings, and we thought that was an opportunity.
I think it's also a chance to recognize and celebrate how active many other countries are in international law affairs. I happened to look on the web over the weekend at the activities of the Qatar branch, the Qatar branch of the ILA, and they're going gangbusters. They have regional meetings now on issues of war and peace and many other topics. So I think it will also be a very good cure, both for Americans and Brits and Frenchmen and others, of any kind of Eurocentrism. You have to realize now that it's a very multipolar world intellectually, and that one really ought to be paying attention to the differences in point of view and nuance and interest of other parts of the world. They are their own intellectual centers now.
I should say also that Washington is an important center of international law here, not just for the U.S. government, but more importantly, international organizations such as the World Bank and the IMF. The spring meetings come at the end of our meeting week. The IMF Administrative Tribunal will be marking its anniversary with a special seminar the Friday, Saturday before our meeting. The OAS is here, of course, and a number of other institutions. So it's an opportunity for our attendees to engage with their colleagues, not just in the United States, but with all of those institutions.
I think also historically, or should I say politically, or kinetically, unfortunately, it's a nice moment to think about international law. The world is in quite a state of chaos at the moment, and a sense of inefficacy, that anything you might try to do as a policy prescription to end the war in Syria or to stabilize North Africa now seems quite futile and difficult. And so I think it's a nice moment to pause and take a longer view and think through with a really multifarious audience of what achievements have been reached in the past and what, with some thought and negotiation, could be prescriptions for peace in the future.
And our meeting theme, of course, invites attendees to do that. Our theme is the effectiveness of international law. And they didn't put a question mark at the end, but they might have. And I think a lot of the panel sessions and discussions are really going to be pressing that question.
Speaking of the panel discussions, what are some of the topics that are going to be discussed at this year's meeting and some of the panels that you expect to see in April?
Well, there's something for everybody, I think. If you're a techie, if you like law and technology, or you just are fascinated by the internet, you can talk about drones, you can talk about cyberspace and its regulation. If you are interested in environment, there'll be lots on that as well. Natural disasters, water, clean energy. If you're interested in international governance, there'll be lots of discussions about the UN and the IFIs, the international financial institutions. So it's really, we even have actual tracks on the formal panels so that you can follow your yellow brick road from panel to panel as you might wish. But I do think, given the range of people who will come, I mean, ASIL has done a wonderful job bringing other international lawyers to town in its past meetings, but I think this is going to be a truly unique chance for each organization to make its conversations richer and more dynamic, if you will.
If certain individuals cannot attend the meeting, unfortunately, is there a way for those people to stay involved and to remain up to date about what goes on at the meeting?
Well, two things from the ILA point of view. First of all, there is every 2 years, coincident with the conference, publication of a proceedings book, which gives the reports that ILA committees have made on what they think are appropriate restatements of customary law or proposed treaties or but other kinds of working documents. So although it's a little slower to be produced, eventually they'll be available through Heino Line, I believe, the proceedings of the ILA as part of the meeting itself. And of course, Betsy and her colleagues have been very good at broadcasting and taping and putting on the web a number of the most important panels as well. So there's going to be some distance learning as well.
We will be webcasting some 16, 17 of the sessions throughout the meeting, including the big plenary events. We will have a keynote lecture, the Brower Lecture by Chief Justice Sundaresh Menon of Singapore. We'll have our annual Grotius Lecture by Radhika Kumaraswamy, former Special Representative Secretary General on Children in Armed Conflict. We will have, I think, a real highlight in having the 3 women judges of the International Court of Justice in a conversation about their work. And they will also be our honorees at the Women in International Law Interest Group Luncheon this year, and many other sessions.
And one should note how historic it is to have 3 females on the ICJ. It was wholly a boys' club until quite a short time ago. So this is a feminist event, if you will, or at least an event celebrating the intellectual capability of women.
And I think one of the things I encourage people to do is look at the detail of the program, because in addition to those plenary events with leading lights, there are many leading lights sprinkled throughout this program. It's an incredibly rich array of leading thinkers from throughout the world. We will also have opportunities for folks to follow the developments at the meeting, in addition to the webcasting, through our blog, our meeting blog, asilcables.org. And those who tweet should follow us on Twitter at #ASILILA14. And we'll be posting lots of updates throughout the meeting there.
I should also note that many of the working sessions of the ILA portion of the meeting, where we're actually addressing what should be the law by text or by treaty or by customary norms, will be open to the public, even if you're not a member of the ILA as such, that the debates, the sometimes rather concussive, dramatic debates among lawyers will be open for view and witness, if you will. And I think it may interest a number of people in joining our process as well. I think these are not redundant organizations. They do very different things. And I think therefore it's a great opportunity to have each public see what the other one does.
For those that are thinking about attending, how do they register?
You can find the registration page on asil.org, also the homepage of ASIL. Big banner, register for the annual meeting here. It takes through to the program and all the information. And of course, anyone can also call our service center at 1-202-939-6001.
Thank you both very much.
Great, see you in April.